Hey guys, we're going to be reacting to Josh Strife Hayes. If you're feeling lonely, watch this. All right, let's get going.
So, Parema has asked a very difficult and detailed question. Thank you for asking, by the way. Hey, Mr. Strife, any tips on loneliness? Been struggling with feeling alone for a long time, never had a girlfriend, not that many friends. Parema, interesting question. And an interesting scenario that more people do find themselves in. One of the most
I agree that a lot of people in this world are in this situation, both men and women, mainly due to the techno age that we're in. I feel like it makes us farther apart from each other, and I think it makes us, just relying too heavily on like text and calls and things like that. It's just become like really dystopian. The digital age, I think it's really ruined a lot of people's, ability to communicate, with their mouths instead of over texting.
most common questions that, because the internet is used by a lot of guys. One of the most common
Definitely.
questions asked on the internet by guys is, how do I get a girlfriend? And
How do I get a girlfriend? Yeah, I quite often ask myself that question very often.
I want to take that sentence and look at the expectations that the sentence has for a moment. How do I, as in you are making yourself the focus. I know you haven't said this exactly, but I want to just break this sentence down. How do I get a girlfriend? As if the ultimate goal of the girlfriend is something to be achieved. Is something to be won. That's the end goal.
That's really not how you should be looking
Achieving
at it.
this is good. That's what people want.
Because society says that you should have a mate, like you should have another half.
Phrase it better to how do you be the kind of guy that makes a good boyfriend? Because
He's right. What can you bring to the table? What can you provide that other guys aren't providing?
women are not a monolith. They are not a massive amorphous blob that all think the same. Every single person wants a slightly different thing. He asked about loneliness.
They're just like everybody else. Women are human beings just like men are. And you shouldn't treat them as objects to be won. They should just be treated like other human beings.
He absolutely did, Hob, and we'll get to that, all right? There's a long discussion here. How do you be the kind of person that people want to be with? That's ultimately what it is. If you are lonely, then that means or implies that you are on your own. If you want to be around other people, the question switches to, how do you become the kind of person that other people like being around?
Exactly. If you're just, kind of the guy that hits a woman up and you're just like, hey, and does short responses and non-thoughtful responses, you're not going to get a whole lot of progress. You want to be yourself, but you also want to be the best version of yourself, if you get what I'm saying.
Actively want to be around, actively want to invite to places, actively want to engage with. Now, one thing that you're going to hate hearing is that the majority of dealing with stuff is just showing up. Dad, I completely disagree.
Yep. Say you feel like you're just not in a good mental space, to go to work or anything. If you show up, you'll feel a lot better for doing so. And that momentum will carry yourself through the rest of the day.
I agree with that. The whole 6 things, 6 feet, 6 inches, 6 figures, it's complete bullshit.
Yep. Women don't need all of that stuff. They want a genuine human being that they can connect with.
It's not at all. If you're dealing with someone who only values those things, you're dealing with a superficial narcissistic person. And you don't want to be dealing with
I
that.
agree. And I've had my last girlfriend, she actually broke up with me because I didn't have the prestigious degree that she did, and I was making significantly less money than her, and she thought it was a very strange dynamic, and that's why she broke up with me. That might not be the only reason she broke up with me. I'm sure there were other things as well, but that's the vibe I got from her.
If you want to be around other people, the first question you have to ask is why? Yeah, you're just joking. The problem, Rabbit, is that when, and I said this yesterday, if a community
I love when this guy just ruthlessly like puts people to shame in his chat. I love that shit.
gets its laughs by pretending to be a certain way, eventually it will be joined by people who genuinely think that way, who think they're in good company. If we say, hey, we're going to joke about this, eventually people that don't realize you're joking will see it and think, that is what I want to join. That is the society that's right for me.
A lot of people just join things because they feel lost, regardless if it's like a good group to join. Being a part of something, whether it's harmful or not, people just jump on board with things, like if they're desperate enough.
Whereas I want to kind of push back on that immediately so we don't get joined by those people. If you're feeling lonely with it, the question is why? And 90% of that is just going to be where other people are as well. You need to...
And that doesn't mean going to a bar if you're struggling with drinking.
Just be where other people are. It sucks, but you need to put yourself into those positions. And you know what? It might not go very well. It might not go very well at all.
I think like he said before, the hardest part is showing up. And I think that once you're there, your personality just kind of takes it from there.
Well, it might be awkward for you, might be awkward for them, but it's very much a level that you need to get used to. We spoke about getting used to that, and you do need to, at some point, just get used to being around other people. I'm totally okay with joking about stuff, but whenever the joke positions another group of people or another culture or another society as the punchline, then you will eventually be joined by people who genuinely want to mock instead of...
Yeah, I think if you breed negativity, and like specific like cultures and things like that, like it's all fun and games from the people that you're joking with, but eventually you will attract people that actually hate certain kinds of cultures and things. So you don't want people that join your joking that actually hate the people that you're joking about.
Support. So it's really important for me to just kind of clamp down on that straight away. But you asked about being lonely, so you never had a girlfriend. Okay, that's fine.
It's perfectly okay to never have had a girlfriend. Like, having a girlfriend isn't like a status symbol or anything. And whoever's told you that, you should ignore them.
That doesn't invalidate you as a person. It doesn't reduce you as a person. It absolutely doesn't make you any better or any worse for having or not having a partner. The question...
He's completely right.
...ultimately has to be, what do you do? And what would a partner want to be around?
Yep.
That's insane. I can't see your screen from here anymore.
Just gotta get through these ads here.
Did you see that?
What do you do that a partner would want to hang out with? And I'm not saying you do nothing, I'm just saying you probably do something, but what is it? You enjoy sharing. I felt terrified seeing how people on the internet see dating as a competition to get girls. It isn't just two people, yeah. Just, when people say be yourself, they don't mean don't try.
See, he makes a really good point here, that being yourself isn't enough. Being yourself makes you think that you don't have to put any effort in to be the best version of yourself. So if you want somebody to be around you and like to be around you, you have to put your best self forward, not just yourself forward.
They mean bring to the group what you can best bring to the group. The people that I like being around the most are the people that do not feel a need to impress the people that they're with. They also...
Well, I kind of disagree with that a little bit, because sometimes if you're kind of with the boys and you kind of want to impress the boys a little bit, I think that can be a little bit like friendly. Like, because a lot of guys, like, they'll like if you have this super cool video game that you like to play, and like you have something that someone doesn't have, like, and that's kind of like a conversation starter and everything. So that can be kind of debated a little bit.
Don't feel the need to use the people that they're with to validate themselves. Be yourself is...
Oh, I see what he's saying. He's saying, like, you shouldn't have to put other people down in order to feel better about yourself. I got you.
Often bad advice, not because being yourself is bad advice, but because people hear the wrong thing from it. They hear, don't put any effort in.
Yep, exactly.
They hear, your presence alone is enough. Whereas it isn't.
No, your presence alone isn't enough. You actually have to put effort in to meeting halfway with the other person.
Yourself still has to involve a level of showering and dressing nicely.
Yep. And being on the spectrum, like, I can have a little bit of problem with this because I've never always, like, loved myself fully. So sometimes I find it really hard to get out of bed and, like, you know, get in the shower. Sometimes I skip shower days, you know, just because, like, I don't fully love myself. But if I really want to have myself around another human being, I can't be out there, you know, smelling like shit and, you know, looking like I just rolled out of bed. You actually have to put effort into, you know, going out and meeting people and presenting yourself in a decent way. That doesn't mean conform to what society wants you to wear or anything. It just means that you're looking like you care about yourself and want to be the best version of yourself. And people like that.
And being polite and spending effort and energy understanding social norms. Because when you turn up and be yourself, you are showing other people what they are going to get if they spend time with you.
And I think there's a big difference between conforming to society and, like, just being a decent human being. Like, just wearing decent clothes and, like, presenting yourself at least decently is really going to give you a leg up if you want to start a connection with somebody. And you don't have to conform to what people want you to wear or how society wants you to look in order to do that.
So, if you turn up, having not showered for a week, in a crusty t-shirt and shoes that you haven't laced up properly, and someone says, I'm just being myself, you know, I'm just here, I'm just being myself.
Exactly, you can't just do that.
Okay, but the way you are presenting is telling everyone who yourself is. So what do you want to be perceived as? Who do you want to be perceived as?
There's a certain level of, like, being yourself, but there's also, like, you have to do that little bit of extra work to, like, nobody wants to wake up and, like, get dressed every morning and shower and, like, well, some people do, but most people are lazy deep down. They don't want to do these things that you need to do every morning. But having the mental fortitude to be able to do them means something to other people.
Stepping outside your comfort zone to kill. Yeah, exactly. Was the best way you found to kill loneliness. Yes, that works as well, Diesel. Maybe not as much murder, but I can see where you're going with it. People need to be comfortable evaluating their own honesty. Being yourself does not mean that turning up alone is the best way to do something. What you put effort and time into shows people who you are, what you value, what you care about. So when you say you are lonely, and it's a great thing when no one's having a go at you, because you're here trying to improve, which is fantastic. That should be respected.
And, like, he doesn't lay into every single person. Like, this guy's actually here, like, asking questions, trying to improve in his life. And I'm glad that Josh, like, appreciates that. Like, he's actually trying, he's putting himself out there, trying to get better, and asking someone he admires or looks up to, how he can do better, which I think is great.
What do you want to do? What do you want to do with people? Let's say you're doing something. I mean, I like painting Warhammer. I love sitting and painting with other people. If people want to do that, that's totally fine. What do you want to do with other people? Getting comfortable with yourself is super important. That's true. Nerd, that's very true. Society in general and experience with other people is a series of compromises. You cannot simply expect the world to bend itself to your will.
Nope.
Now,
cannot do that.
Obviously, what I'm about to say now is a huge generalization. There is a very Eastern viewpoint, mostly from Japan, where the individual must conform to the societal expectations.
And I think that can be a good thing to an extent, because I feel like society, when people conform and everybody's the same, the society kind of runs better in a way, and it's more uniform, and people know what they're supposed to be doing, and there's no, like, odd thumbs out, you know what I mean? But I think there's also some shortcomings to that as well.
Because individualism is not good for societal cohesion. You will see that in a lot of Eastern cultures. Do not be different. Do not look different. Do not expect society to conform to you or accept you. You must fit into the pre-rendered mold. That is what we see in a lot of Eastern societies, and you know what? It is remarkably restrictive. It is mentally damaging.
Yeah, very restrictive.
And while it may, on some level, create a society that does function, it does so at the detriment of each individual within that society.
Yeah,
that's why you have that idea of, you know, the whole salaryman thing in Japan. You must do this. You must go to be good at school. You must have these expectations. You must do that. It's don't stand out. Do not stand out. Do not be different. Now, to say that it's entirely bad would be facetious. Be detrimental to the entire thing.
There are pros
societal
to that
benefits you
kind
can
of
get
living.
from not being different in any way.
That kind of society.
It sucks, but they are there. Jump over to the West, where we actually completely switch it round, where individualism and exceptionalism is placed above all else. It's not about fitting in.
Yeah, everybody's trying to do their own thing and stand out in the Americas, because the way to, you know, be successful in life over here is to be better than other people at things. Whereas in the East, the Eastern countries, everybody is expected to go to work and do the same thing every day, and you aren't as expected to do as much, I would say.
It is about standing out. It is about being different. Created a goat, from your limited viewpoint, Japan's version of society seems to be amazing. You know what? I agree. From a limited viewpoint, it does seem to be amazing. But then you go over there and you realize that actually you cannot be different in any way. You must conform. You must do exactly what you're told.
Yeah, like when a lot of Americans that go and visit Japan, like they're looked at very strangely in how they act and everything. And even a lot of Japanese locals like wish that American people did not visit their country.
Exactly when you're told. You must follow societal expectations. You cannot be different. Which, in a way, does work. However, it damages you as an individual. But now...
I completely agree. If you have no identity in who you are, and you're never able to explore like what you actually want to do in life, that will wear on you for the rest of your life. If you can't experience your dharma, which in Indian culture, that means your purpose, or like what you're meant to do, that can wear on you as a person and make you depressed.
Now look at the Western viewpoint, specifically American exceptionalism. Individualism above all else. Everything is about you, and society must accept you. You must...
Which, in a way, that can be flawed as well, because this whole LGBTQ movement that's been going on, forcing people that don't believe in that to conform to you is going to end up having you, you know, laughed at. And that has nothing to do with my opinion. I don't really have an opinion on the whole thing. I think everybody should be treated equally and everything. But to expect every person in the entire country to conform to your standards of your pronouns and everything is just not reasonable.
Do whatever you wish to do within your heart, and society must accept it. It must conform. Individualism by design. Now this, of course, has many flaws, because what you're saying there is you will not accept any level of societal control. You will do whatever you want to do all the time. Now, from an individual point of view, that sounds great.
Yeah, it does sound
You
great.
get to be in control of you. You get to be in charge of you.
Which is one of the big perks of living over here in the West and the US, is you get to think freely and live freely. Now, regardless of irregardless of, you know, whether people are going to accept that or not, or see you as a good person, those are two different things.
However, there are certain levels and rules within society that do help it function as a collective. The idea that we say, hey, you know, if you go to the shop, maybe don't go in clothes that smell. If you want to
Yep.
you know, have a certain personal style, that's fine, but there should still be a level of sensitivity that you try.
Like wearing like neon hair and having tattoos on your face, which I'm not judging people that do that, but don't expect to not get looks from other people.
To have around other people who don't want to be subjected to whatever you consider to be more or less extreme. There is a balance to be found.
Definitely a balance.
Now, both of these extremes produce a society that functions.
Yes.
In a way. The Japanese collectivism over individualism produces a very strong, very focused, very stable long-term society at the cost of everyone in it not necessarily feeling that they've ever achieved who they want to be.
I agree.
Whereas the Western, particularly American individualistic focused society produces a group of people who are each individually feeling valued, validated, and free to do whatever they want.
Which I don't think you should have to be told that you're valid at all aspects of your life. But for some reason, the Americas have conditioned, or the people in the country have conditioned for themselves to believe that they need to be validated with everything that they feel, which I don't think is true.
But it may not actually necessarily pull together into a cohesive society because too many people are trying to do too many different things. Which is the right one? Neither. They both have advantages and
I think there's a good mix of both.
Disadvantages based on what you do or don't want, but I have often seen that the best and strongest societies come from a balance of both.
Yep. All right, guys, I'm going to end it there. That was Josh Strife Says, the channel. Please subscribe to it if you haven't already. He does some really good commentaries. And this is Josh Strife Hayes. He has a really good MMO reviewing channel. If you haven't seen that, please subscribe to that as well. This is all for today. Please leave a like on the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you want to see more reacts. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, people.